All right, hey guys. How are you? Okay, it's close to midnight here on what are we Wednesday now? Oy, it's been for me personally. I don't know about you guys. It's just I don't know where you live. It's really been like a rough couple of days. We had we have quite a bit of like heat and humidity and dampness, and that creates issues with various types of bugs around here, which frankly I haven't had a problem all summer. um, Suddenly I have all these bites. I just got back from New York City. Did I bring something with me? I'm flipping out. So I'm in the middle of doing laundry. I may have to pause this to go down and uh, see if the dryer is operable. um, Sort of lost our manager here. I'm very close to going directly to the management and owner of this building and volunteering for the job and seeing if they'll give me a couple of bucks a month. I you know to, it takes 10 minutes to clean something up and empty in a garbage bin, you know, and no one will do their part. Thieving, robbing, crime scenes, staged, not big crime scenes, but they start small. I mean, someone will try to get in, someone will start pulling small level stuff, then they'll pull big level stuff. Like they'll start really working something, and the big thing a few years ago was figuring out how to open automatic car or electric car door openers in apartment buildings. That was a big thing. And, you know, I've only lost a few $100s worth of shit, but still, and I've had most of it replaced, but still, I don't appreciate someone taking my stuff. I don't appreciate someone organizing their day's work by going from building to building, bringing it inside a locked building here, and then just ransacking the place and splitting. That makes me uncomfortable. So finally, I called the police, and they're like, "We haven't had any calls here because, for any problem." I said that because no one has called. This guy that at first was kind of an asshole to me. I mean, he kind of like set out to be one, but then once I had an intelligent conversation, there were three of them. They always come in pairs, and it was just sort of like they always come in like twos and threes, because I'm a terrorist or something. Well, they don't know. um but once I began to have an intelligent conversation with them, they backed off. They because they were like, looking around and trying to find like health department stuff, and I'm like, that's not the problem here, guys, because all this garbage is laying around. All right. Well, not food garbage, but that'll be next. So, and yesterday or this morning, we had, well, I was up super late doing chores. Um, I know you guys are probably thinking, why are you up late doing? Well, I have to sit in between them, and I have to do things like run the vacuums and stuff like that. Um, Not too late. And then, I had just bought a bunch of vegetables. I'm chopping. I'm, washing. I'm getting stuff ready. I mean, I had like a radicchio, iceberg lettuce, beautiful tomatoes, and I put some lemon juice, some basil. I mean, I do stuff like that. But everything, I mean, I paid about $50 more for my food stuff this week than I did the last time I went. And by the way, I am not kidding. Uh, I got my car wash. I did all this bullshit, and I'm having to park, a block or two away. And then I have to just sit down and rest for a moment. And I'm trying to, you know, just manage some of the bullshit that goes on here because people are so effing dumb. So anyway, I get to bed. I don't know what time it was. 4. I think I fell asleep, which I believe me, I didn't want it to be that late. And well, it could have been 5 when I finally fell asleep because was generally uncomfortable and happened to be in a lot of pain. And I woke up and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's like really stuffy in here. What's going on? Did the temperature go way up or something?" And I knew I had the air conditioner on, and I thought, "What the hell's going on?" And I had 2 fans on, one overhead and one other fan, and I thought, "What the fuck?" And I went, "Oh shit, the electricity is out." Well, I just made a payment on my electric bill. They don't generally shut stuff off, without calling you and saying, "Is everything okay?" um, or at least warning you. But it wasn't. It was honestly only $300, which might seem like a lot to you guys, but or 350 something, 353 or some shit. And I did that like 4 days ago, but they don't get my payments. They don't get the payments. Well, we didn't get that. Or your bank turned it down. I'm like, how could my bank have turned it down if I had like a couple grand in the account? It doesn't, and the bill was $80. How does that make sense? Of course it doesn't. But our state is run very poorly. I do own shares in the electric company. I don't know, uh, maybe $20,000. I don't think that's lots. I really don't. I think it's, you know, and I'm in the middle of investigating behind my back my brother, who I believe is stealing from me. Not really, but I mean, I don't even trust the members of my own family. Except I trusted my dad. I trusted my sister. They're dead. But I think my brother, I hate saying this, he's not that old, but I think he's beginning to show signs of, well, I don't know, like my mom did, but early signs of sort of, I think he's just drinking too much. You know, when you go out every single day to do something that includes alcohol, that's kind of a lot. I don't know many people that have a budget of like $1,500 a week for food and drinks and entertainment, such as baseball games here, baseball games in Chicago. When I haven't seen the dude work in like 15 years, I don't know. I, you know, or more, really since the late 80s, but we won't go there. I mean, he was married to 2 broads that covered his insurance and bills. So I have no idea. My dad gave him special treatment because my dad said that his dad treated him like shit. Therefore, he didn't want to treat his own son like shit. So instead, I was the scapegoat, you know. Well, I could deal with that. I could deal with it. But and then there comes a time in your life where like, oh shit ski. Now what? And you just kind of know what's going to happen or what might be happening. So that's where I'm at. So no, I didn't sleep well. I wake up, no electricity is on, and I thought, what the hell's going on? So I opened up, right? I'm not opened up. It was about 9. Looked out the windows, and it was dark and raining. And I always see lights on in other buildings, or a lot of times the outdoor lights aren't synced to go off. The security lights are always on in the building, even though they're like 10-watt LED bulbs and they don't do shit. Um, I looked, and I'm up pretty high, so I can see around. I looked at every single house and I said, okay, everything's out. And then the electric company will send you a text, and the text will say, hey, your power's out. Oh, thanks. And then the internet went out half the day because the power went out. I'm beginning to wonder if some of these things aren't just planned. I mean, it wasn't even raining out. It was just dark and cloudy. There were like 3 drops of rain. Nothing was wet. It looked a little bit, but, and, we have sewer backup problems. We have wastewater being dumped into the lake that flows through the river back down here, and you get a lot of bugs in here. And I haven't honestly seen more than a couple all summer. And we get silverfish in here, we get centipedes in here. And I did spray Ortho Home Defense, and that really did work on the floorboards, or anywhere that I saw them. And it does work, and it worked really well. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting just bitten up. And so I have the plug-in LED things. Those are catching a lot. And that's working out. But I wanted to address one of the girls here. You know what? And I'm going to pause before I get to the guts of this video. Okay, so I had success with the dryer. All right, now, yeah, I've been stressed. Okay, continuing. Okay, so the issue, and I've noticed a few comments coming through, and I don't get a lot of views. I don't get a lot of comments, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, and I know that. But again, I know what it's like to be injured and helpless. And you're going to die because your chest is crushed in. Your pelvic cavity is filling with blood. Your lungs are filling with fluid. And your body is so smashed up you can't stand or even move your legs. And then to be treated, just kind of thrown around by EMS, paramedics. I don't know what you want to call them. They probably had already all been at the bar that night. Didn't trust any of them worth a shit. Making up lies about me to cover the ass of the chick that did this to me. They knew who she was. They knew where she was at. It's sort of like someone does something to you, almost kills you, you're helpless, and then what? But you're the bad guy. And that's how I feel. That's what's going on in Palestine right now. There was a rabbi that spoke of with Alistair Crook last week about the next phase of Zionism, which is barbarism. We can talk about that. I think I did a video on it. I don't think anybody watched it or commented on it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't post it. I don't know. I can't remember. I can redo it. I could put it on, tack it on to the end of this. Okay. I want you to listen to what Professor Sachs says, who happens to be Jewish. I don't know if he's wearing a piece or not. It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? I'm joking. Okay. All right. And it's they are intentionally killing people in order to steal their shit. People are trying to get aid to these people. They're trying to get representation in the United Nations. Let's watch this.
Of Judging Freedom with my dear friend and colleague, Professor Jeffrey Sachs. I wish we were not here to discuss this, but the United States State Department in the past several hours revealed that it has blocked the visas of all Palestinian officials intending to arrive at the United Nations next month for the annual meeting of the General Assembly, and is revoking visas that it already authorized. What do you think is behind this, Professor Saxon? How can they get away with this?
Oh, they can and they will.
This is a part of an Israel-U.S. genocide operation that is underway right now. Israel is currently invading Gaza City. It is starving up to 2 million Gazans, 500,000 in extreme condition now. Babies and children dying in large numbers. And the United States is not only a party to this, it's an active participant in this. The U.S. does not want this debated or discussed. It's an ongoing genocide operation. And that's what this amounts to.
How unlawful is this? I mean, isn't there an agreement that all member nations have with the UN that none of them will interfere with the arrival and free speech of other member nations at the UN?
Well, there is an agreement, a 1947 agreement for UN member states, but not being a lawyer here, but the U.S. has blocked Palestine from being a UN member state, so they may take legal cover in that dimension. They cannot take practical, moral, or even legal cover in the fact that the U.S. Is engaging in a genocide right now, nor can they take any solace from the fact that the whole world is watching this.
So it was Palestine. It is spoken of in the Bible, isn't it? And well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. The other people were given the land. There was an agreement in 1947, the Balfour Declaration. Things have been pushing since then. Now they've got Daddy Trump in there, and they're like, fuck it, we're going to just do the whole works. And people are like, oh, that's okay. Who cares about them? Really? Are you guys that cold-hearted? I mean, do you believe in God? All right, let's go.
And all of the world other than Israel and the small part of the U.S. that Trump represents are aghast at what is happening. I'd like to recall for our Secretary of State, who really doesn't do his job. at any moment, and doesn't seem to have any awareness of it, that in
always has this weird look on his face. He used to be just this goofball. I think he's wearing a piece right now, too. I'm talking about Rubio. He's a gay man that was arrested for either alcohol or marijuana possession or something like that in a park that's known as a gay park in Miami with a bunch of other people. No one ever talks about that. I suppose he does fit the bill for the Trump administration. In addition to that, during a time where, around the same time, Tucker Swanson Carlson was, and there's another one in there too, McNear. He's Phoenician all the way, and when he's upper echelon, but pretends to be, oh gosh, gee golly, with his little blue checkered shirt. I mean, he's the devil. He was down in Nicaragua around the same time Marco Rubio had a brother-in-law that was running a huge cocaine ring down in Miami. How the hell are we supposed to trust these people? I don't trust either of them. I don't like either of them. The government knew that I was going to say too, but whatever. The government knew that shit was getting in here. You know, a lot of that shit is run by the CIA itself. Dan Bongino and his brother down in, what was it, Brazil or one of the South American countries where I can't believe how easily people forget shit. Where his brother was, when Obama was still president, they were fucking around down there with prostitutes and cocaine in hotels. And Bongino, who looks fairly well coked up himself, somehow is worth millions of dollars because he just happened to invest the right shit. Oh, look up, do a Brave search, do something good. Don't even bother with Grok. That is, I noticed, I can't even trust that. Because I say to Grok, I say, I think you're wrong. Please give me the right answer. This is what I believe. Or this is what I know to be true. It's just been scrubbed from the internet. And then it will dig something up. Anyway, so he's running our State Department. He was living with his brother-in-law while all this was on. I don't know what's going on. Are you kidding? If you didn't see or know what was going on when you lived in this house in Miami, how dumb are you? And beside the point, he's an anchor baby. He's going to try to run for president. He's going to try to push it all the way. And I suppose he would be fit the bill, gay, Republican, anchor baby. Yeah, I suppose.
The Reuters Ipsos poll of just a few days ago, 58% of Americans want all UN member states, that's including the United States, to recognize the state of Palestine. And that is with 33% saying no to that. So the overwhelming voice of the American people is exactly the opposite of what the State Department is doing. This is, of course, because we don't have a democracy in this country. We have a gangsterism of our foreign policy. It is outside of any public opinion. The American people are decent people. They are overwhelmingly opposed to what Israel and the United States are doing. Not only do they want a state of Palestine, but they say that they side with the Palestinians against this mass murder by the Israelis. But that doesn't change anything with these gangsters, really, that run our country right now. What their motivation is.
I mean, I'll pause if you want to read the chart. Palestine should be recognized as a country by all UN members. All adults, 58%, 9% don't know because they're just, well, I mean, adults can be 18 onward. You can have an 85-year-old woman that just doesn't know. Well, I think they do. And disagree 33%. Who the hell are, it's funny how it's 33%, isn't it? But anyway, Republicans 41. These people are stupid. Dems 78. I don't know. Other 58. Then it says Israel should be recognized as a country by all UN members. Uh, I don't know if I trust this poll. I get a lot of poll anytime anything's going, like around the time Elon was doing his thing. There was some weird shit going on here in the state, and it kind of fucked up my whole summer anyway. That's when they just didn't deliver mail. We don't deliver mail there. Like, what do you mean you don't deliver mail? We just don't. And I had to say, well, why? And it took me like 4 days to get all their stories straight. None of them matched. At any rate, this doesn't make sense to me, so we'll continue on because, I mean, well, I don't even want to say. Let's keep going.
We don't know whether it's Epstein blackmail or pure corruption or something else, but that's now what their motivation is. We don't know whether it's Epstein blackmail or pure corruption or something else, but this is absolutely not what the American people want. And what Marco Rubio's doing is just bringing about the complete isolation of the United States from the rest of the world, other than our complicit partners in genocide in Israel. By the way, I just have to add, this is taking place across the board in our foreign policy. The United States is succeeding in unifying the rest of the world against the United States. And we don't know why Trump does not run foreign policy for Americans or for American opinion or for American interests. He runs it for Israel. We don't really know why that is, but that is the fact. And it has succeeded in isolating the United States pretty much across the board in the world.
What is the...
I wanted to say something quickly because this conversation might get boring for you, but Trump with his press conference meetings where all these bimbos and idiots are sitting at a table with their stage makeup on, their hair extensions, their lip injections, their Botox. The men look stupid. Hegseth looks like a complete moron. It's not, is it? In the past, except for maybe after 9/11, the Secretary of Defense wasn't always standing there looking like some kind of a flat out weirdo. I mean, he's always next to Trump. And I think because Trump thinks he looks good, Trump is insane. I don't care how someone looks. I care about how they do their job. I don't care if they're ugly, if they're cute, or whatever. I mean, if you're a good person doing a good job, that's what I care about. And then the guy like stands at attention. He's got to be on performance enhancing drugs. Most of these people right now have hair and makeup artists on the payroll of the US tax dollar so that they can stand next to Trump and go, boo. Kristi Noem is, that chick is dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, that chick is stupid. She's way over her head. Matter of fact, Department of Home, I believe that she's not really, that was formed after 9/11 because we didn't want any terrorists in here. And then it turns out there really aren't any terrorists. We're just making boogeymen so we can go to war and shit like that and just keep this thing on going. Most of this shit is staged false flags anyway. You know, uh, the shoe thing at the airport is the gosh darn dumbest thing ever. What else? I mean, food safety for me and no more geoengineering for me is very important. If we can just get that accomplished, but that's not going to happen. So Trump has these big cabinet meetings, and it's just stupid because he wants to look like he's doing something, but he's really not. He's just on camera, and he looks like shit. His face is really puffy. He has huge bags under his eyes. I liked it when. Hang on a minute. I really liked it when he stood up and just took question after question after question after question and just boom, 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 banged them off like in 2017, 2018, 2019. And then 2020 was a little bit different, but similar. And he stood at the podium, and now he sits down all the time. I don't believe he can stand for long periods of time. I don't know what's wrong with me. Hang on. Oh, this is weird. I'm going to have to take some vitamin C quickly. Well, after this, it's just to break up whatever. I mean, again, we have a lot of shit in the air right now anyway. And I was just outside too, again, just for a quick minute. But, is he wearing, because he's on diuretics and he can't run to the bathroom all the time, does he have a catheter with a leg bag attached? I don't know. I don't think so. His ankles, his thighs, everything super, super, super swollen. Okay.
Actual relationship between the Palestinian Authority and the UN. Is there not? I mean, I live in the neighborhood of the UN. Is there not? I think I've seen this. Is there not some permanent consulate or?
Of course. Oh, of course. Palestine is an observer state with formal responsibilities, representation, a seat in the General Assembly, and a phenomenally talented representative, Ambassador Riyad Mansour, who is eloquent, peace-seeking, solution-oriented, practical, and a marvelous representative of a people that are being slaughtered before the eyes of the world. So this is absolutely a formal representation with many prerogatives. All I was saying was it is not a UN member state with a vote in the UN General Assembly, though it has a seat in the UN General Assembly. It's represented across UN institutions. Why doesn't it have a vote? For one and one reason only. The United States has blocked it because the US has used its veto in the UN Security Council to block a vote for the state of Palestine over the overwhelming call by the entire world and by international law firmly established, including a ruling last year by the International Court of Justice and decisions taken just on July 29 this year by the UN General Assembly, that there must be a state of Palestine in the UN as UN member state. But the US has blocked it. Why? Because US foreign policy is run by Israel. It's not run by Donald Trump. It's not run by Marco Rubio. They are complicit in Israel's genocide, to be sure. But they handed over the keys to Israel a long time ago. We don't know exactly why. Maybe if we saw the Epstein files, we'd understand it better.
Uh-oh.
The statement which accompanied the State Department's announcement, all of which was released just a few hours ago, said that the PLO must repudiate its drive for statehood because this drive for statehood impairs American national security, if you can figure that one out.
I saw that.
Right. But wait a minute. The statehood has been recognized by the UN since 1948, or at least acknowledged that there should be a two-state solution. And the two-state solution has been part of the public policy of the United States of America since before you and I were born.
There is no public policy in the United States right now. There is improvisation. There is one person who uses whatever executive orders or Truth Social posts he chooses to use. It is all in the service of a radical, murderous Zionism right now for reasons we do not understand. But that is the reality.
I know this sounds kind of weird. It is blackmail, but there is a former either prime minister or president of Israel that is all over those documents. Bill Clinton's all over them, and I think Trump has been threatened. But for Trump to call it a hoax and all this shit, that's just too weird. He keeps saying it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax. What is a hoax? Where is the hoax part? This is the first time I heard it was a hoax. But whatever it is, it stressed this man out. I believe he has a disease of some sort. And no, I don't think it's chronic venous insufficiency. That's way too easy. That's varicose veins, right? I mean, technically it is. Read a description on it. But the fluid is staying down there. It's not, the veins aren't working. You know, usually there's something else going on. He has congestive heart failure. It's super obvious. He's very unwell. I think he has lymph node cancer, personally. I really do. The pictures of Trump with that baseball cap on with the little casual like pullover thing that everybody wears today. I mean, all right, well, those have been popular for many years, but presidents wearing them, yeah, I suppose. I mean, do you see Putin? Well, I don't know. Did you see Putin in China? Wow. Whew. And by the way, his luxury car looks a lot better than ours. Just saying.
There is no policy of this government. And other than going along with whatever the Israeli government comes up with. Today, the Israeli government has come up with the idea of bombing Gaza City. In the last few weeks, it came up with the idea of starving the people of Gaza.
Oh my God.
When a dozen non-governmental organizations reported to the UN Security Council that there is mass starvation underway from on the ground, from people watching babies and children die, the US representative said, no, not so. The
What?
Israeli representative said, no, anti-Semitic propaganda. This is what mass murder is about. This government of ours does not have its own foreign policy at all. Trump is a shambles in this regard.
But prior to this presidency, and I don't know what the public policy was the first time he was around, but at least
Oh, you're correct, Judge. That
from Truman to Obama.
It's been our stated policy for decades.
Oh, he just bombed a ship and called it narco terrorism, whatever the fuck that is. That's new now. What the fuck is this guy doing? And he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. What is going on exactly? I don't know.
Decades
Okay.
that there should be a two-state solution. By the way, Mr. Mumbles, Anthony Blinken, used to mumble with a tear in his eye how important this is, as the U.S. under Biden was also complicit in the same genocide that's going on right now. So this control of foreign policy by Israel is longstanding, but you're absolutely correct that the two-state solution has been part of American foreign policy, not of the current government. The current government apparently wants Jared Kushner to own and operate the Gaza Riviera after it has been starved to death or ethnically cleansed. Who knows? We get nothing. This is so fatuous, empty, and vicious what's going on, but without any coherence at all. Anything that would pass a minimum standard of adult behavior, if I might say it that way, meaning that you state positions, you explain them, you look at data, you respond with even a modicum of honesty. None of that happens right now. Instead, you have mass murder underway.
Professor Sachs, according to Reuters, and maybe you can confirm or clarify, this is the first time in the history of the United Nations that the U.S. has denied entry into the U.S. in order to get to the UN of any entire delegation.
That's my understanding. There have been individuals in the past blocked also for arbitrary reasons, but this is the first time that I have been able to ascertain, looking quickly at the data since 1947, since this commitment went into place, that the United States is blocking a delegation. And it's blocking it at a particular moment when Israel is starving the population to death and storming the Gaza city. And so mass killing large numbers of people with the support of the United States. So the U.S. wants this killing by the United States and Israel to be off the out of the news. It won't work. Absolutely, what is happening right now will only recoil to even more notice by the world of America's complicity and its isolation in this, and the puzzlement of how did it come to pass that a country of 8 million people run by murderous extremists took over the government of 335 million people with the president.
It's more than 335 million. I never do a census. I haven't done one. Please, give me a break.
Who said that he was taking back America for America's interests. This is the puzzle that everybody will be asking in the coming days.
We have illegal aliens here, and I'm thinking more like between 365 and 380 million. There's 335. That has been the same exact number, even though we've had hundreds of millions of people cross the border illegally under Biden. No, they're not deported. Many have been, but not like maybe 0.001%.
I guess historians will be asking that as well. One of the other comments made by the State Department spokesperson when this awful, shameful decision of Secretary Rubio's was announced is that the Palestinian delegation must renounce terrorism. What about the Israelis renouncing terrorism? Their state terrorism has been characterized as genocide by the highest court on the planet.
These words mean nothing anymore. But everybody outside of the little bubble from 16th Street to 21st Street in Washington, from the White House to the State Department, everybody knows. Nobody takes these words as meaningful, as signifying anything but blather. There is a mass murder underway, and the U.S. is castigating those who are being mass murdered. It's incredible. By the way, this is not about Hamas. This is about the Palestinian Authority. So just to clarify, this is not about Hamas. This is about the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, which these same madmen in Israel are claiming that they're going to annex, and where they have started new settlements explicitly to bar any future possibility of a Palestinian state. Israel, I don't know whether Israel will survive in this way, because it has made itself the rogue state of the world in this murder and impunity. But the United States is dashed any global respect and role faster than you can imagine. And this is against the express views of the American people. And we should understand that Donald Trump is plummeting in popularity or approval ratings. His most recent.
I have made videos stating my love for him in the past, like brotherly love, just sort of like, wow. I actually don't use the word hate. I think what he is doing to this country right now, in like every aspect, it's the antithesis of what we had thought we were getting. But I believe he's ill. I believe he's being given drugs that might be even fucking with his head. And he's got a few yes men coming at him. And he thinks, oh yeah, they're young, they're good looking. He always talks about this. Okay.
Approval rating is
30. And they're just telling him what to do.
7% with 55% disapproval.
Ooh.
And yes, and
that's very difficult to govern. That's underwater when your approval rating is below 40 and your
he doesn't give a shit.
Disapproval is above 55.
Yes, and the economy is tanking with a budget deficit of 7% of GDP with sky-high interest rates. So in his desperation, he's trying to fire members of the Fed.
We've had, the last, as of Memorial Day weekend, or was it July? Because I can't get numbers because they're being held back. We have like 90 murders here, shootings that led to murders. But it's like an appointed black dude, appointed by the mayor, who's also an appointed black dude, I believe. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? He didn't have any competition. He just ran and got in. Because the mayor previous that approved the 2020 numbers and allowed more votes than residents or people of voting age went over to Luxembourg to become ambassador. So, yeah, everything's cool. That's the old white dude who used to be my congressman. He was horrible then. He's horrible now. It's all horrible. It's not. And so they cover the numbers. We don't want people to know how bad it really is. People know.
Who he has no authority to do at all. This is a scramble of incompetence and isolation. There is no strategy. This is not power. This is desperation. It's so desperate that you have to keep people away from even being in a building because they know in Washington that the basic truths are so awful that you do anything you can to hide the truth. Of course, none of it works. None of it works. But that's what they're scrambling to try to do.
You mentioned being in a building. A couple of blocks from the United Nations are some of the finest hospitals and medical centers in the country. The same State Department that has blocked an entire delegation from landing at JFK has blocked visas for Palestinian children in desperate need of medical care. I'm talking about kids that lost limbs. Ready, the medical centers in New York City, ready, willing, and able to treat them, and the children can't get there. Same State Department, same mentality.
They're starving these children to death right now in massive numbers. Outright starvation, something we have not seen since the Nazis.
Yeah, there we go again.
You are an extraordinary student of the UN. You understand it better than anybody I know. You interact with it on a regular, consistent, systematic basis. What good is it if it can't stop this?
The UN is the crossroads of the world. It is the one and only place on our planet where representatives of the 8 billion people come together. And when they are in the building, at least they are coming together peacefully. That's why what the State Department is doing right now is so profoundly disreputable. The UN can't stop this because under the UN Charter that was adopted in 1945, the United States has a veto that prevents the will of the world, 95% of the world population living in more than 180 countries that are calling for a state of Palestine and the application of international law. And that is why the UN hasn't stopped it, not because the UN is some dastardly organization or people aren't doing their jobs. It's because the United States has vetoed the role of the UN in stopping this. The US has blocked the role of the United Nations in emergency relief because the whole idea is clear. Everyone out, kill the journalists, don't record the genocide, and then carry it out. And that is what is happening right now. So it's not to blame the UN, it's to blame the United States, which has a veto, and it is using its veto to try, though it doesn't work, to keep the eyes of the world away from a genocide. And then it uses its threats all over the world that when people tell the truth, it bars them, it sanctions them, it prevents them from acting, it does whatever it can to stop international law, it puts on sanctions against these international courts. In other words, the US is using whatever kind of thuggery it thinks it can use in order to continue this genocide. And so far, the genocide has continued. There is talk, by the way, right now, and it's a sophisticated talk, that there are ways around the US veto, that the UN General Assembly, operating in a procedure called Uniting for Peace, may have the power to circumvent the US veto and put in a protection force to save the lives of the people of Palestine. This is right now being very actively discussed. There's a lot of credibility to it. It may be the kind of urgent measure that will get done. Would the US take active action to prevent such a protection force? This could be the next step of the US engagement in direct war against the rest of the world. We shall see.
Professor Sachs, thank you very much. I know it's a holiday weekend, but you and I communicated, each expressing our fury and outrage at what—
No, this was from last week, guys. Okay. We'll cover more. I just wanted you to be aware that it's not okay to support this, in my opinion.